Morning, me, Mum. Back in a minute. Good evening. Sorry about that. Good evening, everyone. I'm Big Johnny here. You're tuned into NHPUK TV live on a Thursday. Just sorting my phone out there. Live on a Thursday. And I mean, I had a chat with someone the other night and something got brought up, and it is the decline of the West Indian community in the United Kingdom. Now, this isn't any white right-wing conspiracy or anything like that. There is a decline in the West Indian community, but let you give you a few views, and I'll give you my thoughts and opinions. And I think a lot of people will agree with what I'm saying, West Indian or not. So this isn't a recent thing, this, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a gradual thing. It's been going on years. It's been going on. An article, the particular article I'm going to get up out of The Voice is dated December 2022, but there is other articles dated earlier than that, dated in the early 2000s. And you know, I've seen it myself. Oldham had a big Caribbean community. We had 2 West Indian clubs. There was Kitty Man's. What I remember of the carnivals and that, very West Indian-y. And obviously, we spent a lot of time down Manchester and Moss Side at the time, just at Alexandra Park, because we had a relative there, and we spent a lot of time down there. So I've seen all this, and it's gone worse. It's gone worse. So I'm picking on now an article out of The Voice. So it's Britain's black newspaper. Yeah, my dad used to read The Voice all the time, and the headline is: "Will the Caribbean community survive population decline? Low birth rates, more mixed relationships, and the elderly joining their ancestors are all contributing to falling census numbers." So low birth rates. I mean, it's impressed on people in the UK that the breakup of the family, not just white people, West Indians who've been here years. There is a definite breakup of the family unit, which is going to result in less births. Mixed relationships. Now, I'm from a mixed relationship. I'm not going to say whether it's wrong or right, but if the kids don't learn, if the kids are mixed race and they don't learn where they're from or their ethnicity of the fathers or mothers, depends on where they come from, then, you know, you're going to have issues in the future. Now, I must say, though, our family, we've got that. I mean, even our Shania, which is my mum's 3rd generation from mum, she goes to Windrush and stuff in London and knows a lot about her history. But there's a lot of people who don't, so I can understand them saying more mixed relationships. But, you know, it's not for me to say whether it's right or wrong. But, like, if people don't want to remember, if let's just take, for instance, me, Jamaican dad, white mother. So if, you know, my mum had me, then it wasn't with my dad, and then could end up with a white dude, then unless I have contact with my grandparents on my dad's side, I'm going to know about who I am, my identity, the kind of person. And I can understand that is what will happen. Similar thing will happen. That's why there is a less in the Caribbean community. I mean, what else did he? I was talking to this guy. Said there's a black businesses. Like there's hardly any Caribbean businesses. Obviously, there's going to be less Caribbeans here. There's going to be less Caribbean businesses. It just makes like common sense that, I think. If you correct me if I'm not wrong. Good evening, Babs. Yes, Arlene. Mark Williams. Good evening, sir. So yeah, that's what I'll put the link to the article in the chat. So this is from The Voice. This is Britain's black newspaper for 40 years. It's not no right-wing edition. It's not no done all by white people. If I looked at the people who wrote that, they'd be all black or Caribbean descent. So, you know what I mean? This is what they're saying. That's what they're saying. So, again, there's nothing wrong with mixed relationships. But, well, some people... Well, actually, I'm saying there's nothing wrong with it. But there's other people who will say that it's not good. Muhammad Ali said, stay with your own. Just 1 minute. I just want to... So, I mean, Muhammad Ali famously said on a couple of interviews, black stick with black, keep your up to your own. That's what Muhammad Ali said. Not me. It's what Muhammad Ali said. And I mean, let's go back up to somebody in the now times. Let's go to someone who's around now who's like an actor. Hold on, I'll get him up in a sec. John Boyega, who was in Star Wars now, he said the same. He said that he's going to stick with his own. That's what he said. Officially said. You know, it's been reported. He said, you know, there's other black people who said the same. There's other Pakistanis who said that they're going to stick with their own. Indians were going to stick with their own. And obviously, with our liberal government and this diversity, not inclusivity thing, the brainwashing our kids to like not be part of families, not have that family structure. I think that's a big part of it as well, the family structure. If you're not going to have Uncle John round, how are you going to learn anything? If you've not got me round, how are you going to learn about nationalism? If you've got me round, how are you going to learn about the real truth of what they say about immigration and Windrush? How are you going to learn all that if I'm not around? You're not. So, you know, you're not going to have an identity. Luckily, my family have identity, but I see all the time in Oldham families with kids who haven't got a clue of where they're from originally, the prime identity or the mixture of their identities. I see that all the time. So, yeah, I can understand when The Voice, Britain's black newspaper, says more mixed relationships. I can understand. Low birth rates, it's been oppressed on us. The family's been taken off us all the time, so we're having less children. Now, that's in a lot of the communities in the UK, but some communities, recent ones, I still have large families. But, you know, the impress on us to have large families and the general, like, family size for a normal English family in Oldham, in particularly Oldham, is 2 to 3 kids per household. Some of the new families now we have here can be 5 to 6 kids per household. But anyway, and the elderly joining their ancestors. I know a lot of older West Indians who went back home, in the later years. And I do know some who didn't survive here long when they first came and they went back. I know a family where the kids were born over here, and when they were about 16, they all moved back to Jamaica. But the kids came back because they couldn't live in Jamaica. So the kids came back and carried on their lives here. I know people like that. So, yeah, it's a big thing. And I can see this is what the paper's saying, and I can agree with the things it says in the paper about the continuation. And, I mean, it all stemmed from the visit to the mayor of Camden saying that she was out of order, saying just buy from black community. I mean, I'm 55 years old, and I've supported my Caribbean community and every other community in Oldham all my life. When I moved with my mum into a 2-bedroom property, I had roughly about £3,000. I did videos on this and said this in my videos, and we just had the COVID and all that lot. So a lot of the businesses in Oldham were struggling and had struggled. So I made a point of purpose of spending that roughly about £3,000 on Oldham businesses and things to do with Oldham. Even if I bought something from Iceland, Oldham, people who live in Oldham work there. So, you know, I'm helping them keep their jobs. I spent, there was a West Indian woman on the market, Mary, and I spent over £100 on bedding because she's had to go through COVID and all the restrictions and stuff like that. I also, there is also in Oldham, at the back, opposite the toilets, there's a Pakistani man who sells beds. And he's been there years. It's been a good place to get a bed from. You can just turn up on a day and get a bed delivered anyway and pay him the money. And my mum used to do this for us kids when we were leaving and stuff like that. She'd get us gifts. She'd get the sister a gift of a bed or something like that. So I bought something off him and I spent all the money on Oldham businesses. I didn't just pick on one particular section of the community. I didn't think that was the right thing to do. I thought that all sections of our community needed my money, and that's what I did. I told everyone I went in the market. I bought a lot of stuff, household goods from the market, and the shops around the market. Our washer and washer and dryer were from an Oldham company. So was our bigger larder fridge was from an Oldham company. So this is what I did with my money. Now, if that's the wrong thing to do, then shoot me down. Then really just shoot me down. But I thought it was a correct thing to do. And again, I've supported my West Indian community and other communities in Oldham all my life to my best of my ability. And I know other people have. Oh, Betty and Al. Oh, yeah, you're on Facebook. Oh, yeah. Thank you, Arlene. Yes, Lisa. Hope you're all right. So, yeah, there is a decline. I'll put the link to the Voice newspaper. It says, let's have a read through. The Caribbean community in Britain has faced a sharp decline in numbers, while African communities have surged, prompting fears that Caribbeans could eventually vanish. The Caribbean community were the only ethnic group to show a decline in the recent population census, with experts suggesting this could be because of low birth rates, more mixed relationships, the older generation returning to the islands. To understand the rise and fall in Britain's Caribbean population, a good place to start is history. More than 100 years before the Empire Windrush landed, black people had already formed a presence in Britain during the Roman conquest period, but most noticeably between the 16th and 18th century, which is actually not right. Right, I just had to tell you. There was some black people, but there was no black community in England before the Windrush, really. There was a scattered amount of black people, most of them towards where the coast is, and a lot of them would be related to sailors or that kind of people. And there weren't many. Like I said, there was no black community. There was no town with black people in who had a church there. There was nothing like that. Just scattered around people. And you had the odd black, half maybe celebrity who came and went. And when you say Romans, the Roman conquest, well, the black people at the Hadrian's Wall weren't really black people. They were more they weren't sub-Saharan black people. They were more from North Africa, the Berbers area, which is Morocco and stuff like that. So they didn't look like my dad. They wouldn't have looked like that, my dad. They would have looked more like Arabs. And that's the truth, that's the ultimate truth. Don't listen to what you hear on the mainstream media. That is all to God truth, right? That's the all to God truth. Like I said, there was no mega black community. The black community first came, the proper black communities first came in the Windrush times. That's when they came. But it says the Tudor and Stuart eras saw a significant presence of Africans in London. It wasn't really significant. It was a minority presence. And like, again, there was no communities. There weren't loads of houses built around the church. There were nothing like that. They were sporadic and spread out, and more towards, of course, related to the things to do with sailors and sailing. All right. But anyway, they're right in what they say. Population decline. And the West Indians who've been here since the Windrush time have had to put up with all the indoctrination that we go on about, the destruction of our families, because my Jamaican family are very Christian, and the destruction of our families and the offence against the trials and tribulations against Christianity, which seems to be being deemed bad these days. No, people don't talk about other religions, but Christianity is attacked all the time. So these two things, them things I've talked about, would help in a reducing the numbers of Caribbean people here, and would reduce the amount of black-owned or Caribbean businesses here. But again, I'm 55 years old, me. I've supported my Caribbean businesses and business in Oldham all my damn life. All my damn life. I have earned them thousands of pounds. We have certain West Indian takeaways in Oldham. There's one, rice and peas, down on just near Park Cakes, next to Tesco's. When I was living in Fitting Hill, I went to that shop twice a week. Yeah, and that was a treat time, twice a week. West Indian shop. We have Yum Yums, another West Indian takeaway that's in town centre, run by a family friend called Amoy, who is also running in local elections in Oldham. And regularly I buy off her because it's in the town centre. One Love, Huddersfield Road, another West Indian takeaway, another takeaway that our family regularly buy from. Yeah, so yeah, I do go towards keeping my West Indian community businesses up, but I also am not ignorant that it's everybody in Oldham who needs a bit of help, who's suffered, like I said about moving mum. So that's me. That's me, and I'm not ignorant of facts, but there you have some facts from The Voice, Britain's leading black newspaper for 40 years. That's what they're saying in it. No, it's no conspiracy thing. No white conspiracy here. This is what they're saying about mixed marriages and stuff. That's what they say. That's what they say, mixed partnerships. And again, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm here. I think it's done me well. But it does affect then whatever side you're learning your ethnicity and your history. And these people will end up going to university, finding out that they think they've been wronged all their life, and start blaming everyone else because they never learned or never got an identity when they was growing up. This is Big John. This is the National Housing Party UK. Next week, I've got Gary Clark on. Gary Clark, a lot of you might know Gary Clark. He did the stunt where they called out Sadiq Khan, and Gary's into common law, and I've known Gary now 4 years, good 4 years, maybe a little bit longer than that. He's a great activist. He's supported a lot of things in his time. And I know that Gary and Nathan Kirkden have personally helped people in trouble, with whatever kind of trouble. And I give these guys ultimate respect. I've nothing against them. I don't have any beef with any of these. But like I said, I've met Gary and Nathan several times. And also, I'd like to point out, they do with common law. Now, what do I know about common law? I know a bit, but I don't know everything. But when common law came into me, I went to find out. You know what I'm like? I like to go and find out what I'm talking about. So I went to common law courts in Wigan, sat all day on a Sunday listening to John Smith set out common laws and do the trials that they were doing, and the justices explaining to her. And I took pages and pages of notes, and I also recorded it. So, you know, I do look into the things that I talk about or I'm interested in. And so no one can say that I don't do that. And I mean, I talk to people. When I say about common law, then I say common law courts. No, what's that? And this is where you go and you see it all in action. It's a common law court, so you have got to have rules. Certain people can't talk to certain people. You can't discuss private. You've got to be in this group. You've got to all agree this. You've got to have guys who keep the peace, like that you see in the courts here. You know, that's what it's like. But it's the working man's common law courts. Now, I do believe that common law would have a good advantage for us going forward in the future. Again, I'm not saying I'm an expert. I'm not. But I have tried to look at things. I've talked to all these people. Graham Moore, Gary Clark, Nathan. There's a lot of people. Rick, a good friend of ours at the time, Rick was into common law. And I've took it on board. And I know that it's a weapon that we can use with everything else to help overall the government. But that's up and coming. I think it's next week for Gary, and I'll try and get Nathan on the week after. But I'm getting them two lads on. And again, I've got ultimate respect for Gary and Nathan. I don't care what anyone else says. I've known these guys. I've travelled with them. I've demoed with them. They've supported. They supported several rape gang demos, and these guys aren't ignorant of what's going on, and they don't just focus on one thing. They're very aware. But I'm glad to have Gary on, and that'll be next Thursday. So don't forget, Tuesday I'll be on with Paul Rimmer. Wednesday we got Bible study. I didn't turn up yesterday. I had a bit busy with my mum. We had the district nurses round, and I was a bit tired, so I never bothered. But yeah, and then next Thursday with Gary. But thank you very much, everyone. Ugly Truth, good evening. June, thank you, good evening. Andrew, they don't want Christianity, so people feel lost and depleted. They don't want us to build a sense of community. They spent 30 odd years dividing us. Andrew, honestly, Andrew, them words came from me. Arlene will tell you, them words came from me. That's exactly how I would put it. But yeah, you're right there. Thank you very much for that, Andrew. Honestly, that is righteously bang on. That it is. Oh yeah, June. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, but you know, again, it was interesting getting into it and listening to the stuff being said. That's what I'm about. Me, I'm not just I'll pick up on it and say about it. I'm not just I'll see it on social media and I want to talk about it. I like to go to the places where it happens. I've been to Dover. I've spent 3 nights in Dover. I camped out one of them nights on my own, trying to see if I could see anyone coming over. I've seen it in action. I've been to the towns where we've had rape gang issues. Hull, me and Arlene spent some time in Hull, met up with survivors, and other people who are supporting them, and I've seen them raising money in real life. I've seen the actions and the rewards of the stuff that they do to help victims. Again, Rochdale, PAG UK. I just can't say enough about Billy and his team down there. And the 3 girls scandal in Rochdale was, I mean, other than Rotherham, that was the biggest next thing after Rotherham, and it was an absolute scandal that the police branded these girls as prostitutes. And my mate Billy, with Linda, who's passed away, set up PAG UK to stop these kind of things. And going forward, Billy has really put pressure on and reduced things to do with taxis, which was a major area to do with the rape gangs, was taxis. And let me tell you what Billy did. Went to all the taxi ranks and introduced him to the bosses. Yeah. Then when he flagged up to do with a taxi driver, Billy was talking to that boss saying, listen, this isn't good enough. Are these people checked? Did he have the correct checks? And he'll tell you himself, Billy, he has got a bit of a hand on that, on the taxi services in Rochdale. Not completely, but and the stuff he's done has ended up reducing the trouble that we get from taxi drivers. And no one's going to say that I'm wrong, because I've studied this for the greater part of 10 years of this scandalous rape gang crisis, since the first time that me and 2 others nearly got arrested trying to report something like this in Sheffield, quite a few, 2009. And we got threatened, intimidated, and nearly arrested for trying to report it. So I've been on it since then. I'll never step away from it. I want accountability. We don't have any police accountability, even though there's 600 police up for sexual offences and dodgy offences right now. We don't have any accountability off the councillors or anything. Now, if I did something wrong, they'd soon be jumping on me for accountability. If I said something wrong on social media, they'd soon be jumping on me for accountability. But these people are never held accountable. So this is a bad situation we're in because of it. But thank you very much, everyone. I'm going. Only a short one. Thank you for tuning in. Again, Tuesday I'll be with Paul Rimmer and at least Callum. And then Wednesday we've got Bible study. If you want to get in contact with us for that, if you can email patrick.mcguinness@nationalhousingparty.uk. Again, I put the voice link. Look into it yourself. I put the voice in. 40 years Black British newspaper talking about why there's a decline in our Caribbean community. And again, I'm not ignorant. I've helped my Caribbean community for over 55 years, and I've helped all the rest of the communities in Oldham, as I showed you, where I spend my money, not just buying off Amazon, getting things from abroad and them saving £200 million or whatever. No, I go around to the shops in Oldham and buy the things with real cash, and I'm a real person. But thank you very much for tuning in, everyone. God bless everyone. And I'll catch up with you all soon. Thank you very much. Thank you.